Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Barcast TV and to another episode of Barcast Daily. It is June 29th, 2023, and we have a very special guest on the show. Navaya, welcome to the
Yeah, hey,
channel.
hey everyone. Been a while, but happy to be back.
Glad to have you on the channel again. Really enjoy our conversations together and been learning a lot. So, this is a game we played just yesterday. Do you have any thoughts you'd want to share on this match we played?
Yeah, this game was really tough. I really wasn't expecting all the laser turrets and caught me off guard. So I was playing from behind for most of the game, in my opinion.
I went back and kind of went through this replay very quickly. I think at like 6x speed, so I'm really happy to have the chance to kind of look through kind of exactly what went wrong. Perhaps maybe we can identify. I mean, I think I have a pretty good idea of what happened, but it'd be cool. And I really want to know like how how you opened on this map, perhaps, because I was looking at your main base at the end of the game, and it was just kind of interesting layout. And it seems like you had a lot of solar collectors, more than I did. So, it'd be interesting to see where were we at different timestamps.
Yeah, I kind of just kept adding solars. I think I had like 3 or 4 construction vehicles making solars at one point. I just never had enough energy. We were pretty much fighting for the whole game, so constantly having to reclaim, get that metal back in the game.
Yeah, that's just. I guess that's like the drawback of like going vehicle plant is you don't have access to those res bots. And did you end up going to two vehicle plants on this map, or I know that's something you kind of lean towards.
No, I only went one vehicle lab this time, um, and decided to go T2. I had a lot of metal, and I was like, should I go T2 or add a second vehicle lab? And I'm like, he's not going to expect me to go T2 here because I almost never rush T2.
Hmm.
So I figured I'd try it, and it seemed to pay off, though I still think I didn't get enough value going T2.
Yeah, I was a little taken aback when I heard that T2 unit spotted. I was like, oh my gosh, it was a little soon. Yeah, like a little sooner than I was expecting it.
Yeah, that notification always like throws you off, especially if you're not planning to go T2 anytime soon. Then you're like, well, what do I do? Do I go T2 or do I all in? And you really don't know what's the best option a lot of times.
Yeah, I was kind of spazzing out. I think I settled on just rolling T2 out like as quickly as possible. I stopped production on my factories, and then because I ended up going to two land factories. So
Okay.
that'll
Yeah,
be
I think you had a lot more metal because you had, I think, more than half of the map at the end of the game controlled, so you had higher metal production.
relatively even. So something we were talking about before we started this game was like I don't want to say like com rushing. And there's obviously a difference between com rushing and expanding with your commander, right? So you don't use your commander to expand on this map. Is that kind of like
Yeah,
90% of the
that's
time, or
yeah, pretty much every game I'll leave my commander in my base. It's much simpler for me to balance my economy with him in the base when I'm not having to worry about microing him all the time.
hmm.
And I don't like the early rushes. Like a lot of times what good players will do is they'll send their scouts in, and if your commander's not in your base, then they can catch you off guard and cause a lot of damage.
Yeah,
So I just like having that commander in the base just to make it a safe standard expansion pretty much every time.
that's a really good point you bring up because something I've been struggling against these higher level players is how they'll group all their blitzes together or all their incisors and then swoop in for an attack instead of kind of spreading things out across the map. So maybe that having your commander in the main base gives you a little more leeway and having units in the right place at the right time because you know your main base is pretty much not always defended, but it's not going to be like rolled over by 12 blitzes 7 minutes into the game, and you just instantly lose. So maybe there's some merit to that.
Yeah, because a lot of players, I mean, some players are more passive, some are more aggressive. and so you never know if they're gonna, try to dive your lab or if they're just gonna sit in their base. So if
Hmm.
you try to attack and you don't have any units at your lab, you can just lose the game right
Yeah,
there.
yeah. That's how I've been. Well, I mean, I lose a lot of games in a lot of different ways, but that's definitely one of them. I think that match versus Teddy on Certigata I played the other day comes to mind, or the one we played the other day for that matter. It's kind of rolled over my main base, took out all my wind turbines.
Yeah, and it's a lot harder to do that with the commander in the base. I mean, this game, I was actually pretty scared. I didn't know, because normally you try to attack me when you go vehicle.
Hmm.
So you see I have my incisors kind of spread out on my side of the map.
Yeah, yeah,
So I'm not really sure where you're going to attack from, and I don't want to get caught off guard. I have the radar in the middle there,
yeah.
but you're still, you could sneak from top or from bot. And so I'm just kind of like waiting for you. I probably could have just attacked and really just
That's funny because I
probably
was,
won. I've got quite a lot of units here.
yeah, I was waiting for you to attack. That's why. So I don't know what the word for that is. Something I've been doing that you mentioned about like coming from the top or the bottom is these early scouts. If I'm able to kind of keep these alive, I'll just park them outside of my radar coverage on these extreme north and south sides, and it kind of gives you a decent amount of warning. You see, I got that lane kind of locked down with that scout right there. Too bad I lost the other one at the start of the game.
Yeah, that's what a lot of good players will do, high level players. They'll even add scouts throughout the game just to kind of do that, sit them outside, catch a con out by itself, or
Mm-hmm.
just to watch for unit movements,
Mm-hmm.
sneaking around the edges.
Yeah, and you say that I actually incorporated that into my build queue, so I have the one construction vehicle, 5 brutes, 1 rascal on a repeat here out of the factory. So just kind of, like you said, keep those coming into the game so I can find some damage.
Yeah, Rock used to like to do that. Tag Rock, he could go like 15 blitz and then straight into medium tanks, and
Hmm.
it always catches you off guard because your light tanks really can't deal with the medium tanks.
Yeah.
So I uh I had all these tanks that I couldn't do, and you had all these laser turrets. Because I was so passive, you were able to really pork up,
Hmm.
and now I have all these light tanks that don't do anything, and it was kind of difficult.
Something else I've been kind of working into my play is these inside exploiters. Excuse me. I think these are actually really strong. And I was reading the other day. I have to double check this, but just the build time on these, because it's like the same mass as one mech's 2 LLTs, but it has a quicker build time. So it's like you can expand faster with essentially the same amount of defense um, for the same metal. So
Yeah, if you've got the metal, they're definitely time efficient,
hmm.
and I haven't started making them. I've been thinking about it. I don't know if it fits my play style, but they are effective. They definitely are effective.
Well, it'll save you a lot of clicks. For instance, I mean, you just have to like just literally clicking the one time on the mechs, right? Instead of like adding like a mex and a radar and multiple LLTs and separate little locations. So
Yeah, but if you're really good, you'll just not make laser
yeah,
towers like me.
you just make radar and units, man. What do you need LLTs for? I mean,
Exactly. I'll have twice as many units by the end of the game. Just win every fight.
so
It looks like you have more energy than me at this point in the game. You have quite a lot more solars. Are you ahead on metal by this point?
yeah, yeah, I'm talking
Or
about like 2K metal too. So I'm not sure.
yeah, I really wasn't expanding very quickly.
I was even surprised too because I was trying to raid. I think at a couple points in the game on the top and bottom side, and you just you just hadn't expanded there yet. I was like, oh, okay, I guess. And we can see like I think you have a little more of the center. You're a little farther forward than I am, maybe. Um, Not by much, but
Yeah, I guess I was waiting for you to attack, and then I could play the map uh, from that point. But I don't know why I was so passive this game. I guess just all the laser towers. I didn't I didn't really have an idea what to do because you see I have all these incisors,
hmm.
but they just you have so many laser turrets that I didn't know where to attack, and you got your units there in the top middle, so I didn't
Right.
want to push in. It was a tough game. I probably should have just been more aggressive.
Yeah, and maybe this is something I've been working on is just making it difficult to raid. So I've been really trying to work on focusing, I guess especially on this map, is trying not to get raided, trying not to like fall behind economically and chase your army around the map. So just something I kind of took from Randy's playstyle is he expands slowly, kind of creeps onto the map, and it's really defensive, slow, methodical way, and kind of suits my style. So kind of incorporated that into my own play.
Yeah, I saw your raid coming down here, so I was just sending units over to defend it. But it slowed me down from expanding for sure.
Yeah, I noticed that because like I was checking this replay, like I said, and you have this radar here that saw those units kind of rolling in the bottom side of the map, so you're able to get all these tanks into position here. I have a couple more on the top side snuck through. These get cleaned up by this radar, or excuse me, LLT, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I made a couple of LLTs right there in the top. That way, any scouts or like that, any couple of units running by would get picked off. But didn't really fortify my top side all that much. I was trying to play for the middle of the map, but I couldn't make any progress because your commander was just making LLTs like a madman.
Mm-hmm. Shout out Ragnar for showing us the way on Comet Catcher.
Mm-hmm.
Really settled on this like 4 LLT number. I think that's kind of where the sweet spot is on like DPS, or they protect each other, right, so to speak. So something I tried adding on this game was about 5 artillery. I should have hotkeyed these to kind of quickly move them around the map, but did you notice I was kind of using these or moving them back and forth? Or
Yeah, I noticed them. Kind of didn't care because you can't really do anything. I'm not fortified in any one position, and as you can see, I'm just going up to the top
mm-hmm.
because that's where I think you're weakest. And I thought if I just take a fight right here and win, then maybe I can push into your base and kill your eco
Mm-hmm.
because you've got everything else locked down. I'm just making medium tanks hoping I can win a fight. But I
Yeah,
think I'm behind on eco right here still.
not by
Yeah, still.
not by much, and I'm only up by like 5 per tick, right? So you are right about the fact like the weakness is right here, and I don't have as many ugh, not nearly as many LLTs, and nor my commander, right? So
Yeah, I was trying to sweep down and clear out that little fortification in the middle
mm-hmm.
and then route back to my side of the map.
Mm-hmm.
But your commander was coming and your units were there, and I'm like, I can't take this fight. And you see my construction vehicle. Like, I had him right there ready to go to reclaim all those
Mm-hmm.
vehicles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you kind of kept him there for because this battle kind of protracts out. Yeah, so you move him back with this reclaim command, and
Yep.
be interesting to see how much reclaim you're actually able to get off from this, because you were able to get a T2 factory up actually, so it's kind of shows us the amount of reclaim you got off of this.
Yeah, it was your commander being there was tough because I can't keep you off the reclaim as long as your commander's there and our units are equal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because if my units start shooting your commander, then you're just getting all that free damage on my units, right? So it's like I'm trying to stay away from your commander while trying to keep you off the reclaim, and
that worked really
difficult.
well, because like I mean, I think we showed that there's about like almost 2,000 mass, so that's exactly what you need to make a T2 factory, and we see yours is already done. So, and immediately into this advanced construction lab. So what is that? 13 minutes, 30 seconds into the game.
Yeah, that's kind of what I realized when I see your commander there. I don't know if you recall, but you degunned probably
It was like
8 or so units,
yeah,
something like that. I lost a lot of army there, and it's just it's tough. It's tough in a fight with a commander without a commander.
Yeah, I'm like, well, how do you have more tanks than me? I'm like, I even went like two vehicle plants. I'm like, I was like losing this fight the entire time, so I felt like I'm like, I have to make a move with this commander to contest this reclaim field better. Ended up costing me 90% of my health.
Yeah, I didn't realize you were so low because when you got those I saw that you had degunned my units, but I guess maybe you took a lot of damage when you were doing that. I wasn't paying attention to that. I think I was queuing up my T2 mexes,
Mm-hmm.
and then I looked over and saw the D guns, and I'm like, well, that's great.
Yeah, right. You got a lot of this reclaim. I wish I had the presence of mind to kind of sweep around a couple tanks and try and take out this because I want to say this kind of won you the game. This construction vehicle right here.
I think that's the third one I sent over there.
Yeah,
I kept taking them because you kept killing them, and I kept just sending them back
I
over
see.
there. And the problem is, I reclaimed my T1 vehicle lab, so I couldn't make any more construction vehicles. I had like 2 left. So I'm like, oh, I gotta make a bot lab. I
Yeah,
gotta
I
make
see.
resers.
Yeah, so you're sending it from across the from your main base over to that reclaim field.
It's so important. This is the whole game right here, this fight.
Maybe I can pause it. I'm trying to like pick away at you. How many kills do these have? 3 kills, not too much. I felt like this was like a little annoying. I'm like, okay, well he's like contesting this reclaim field, so I don't know if he's gonna have the enough units to kind of. I wanted you to pull away from that so I could have access to that reclaim field. You're too smart for that, so.
Yeah, I saw those there, and I'm like, he's just killing laser turrets. It doesn't matter. I sent a couple of tigers over to deal with it.
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't have. I probably should have just sent them all to that reclaim
Oh.
field.
Okay, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
And I was floating mass, so I made a metal storage right here in the front line because like I don't want to float this mass, and this is such a shame, man. I have like 3K mass in the bank and no way to spend it. I have not enough build power. I was able to get up an advanced vehicle plant, and I'm trickling out tigers, but it's like you already have four, four on the front line. 2 more showing up. 3 more.
Yeah, I was losing them so quick though because as you can see, I wasn't really microing that well, and you just had so many brutes still there shooting, and it was getting tough. And I knew you were gonna be T2 soon,
Right,
so
right.
as soon as I saw your first tiger, I wasn't sure if I could still win it. I mean, even though I'm getting all that reclaim, you're still ahead in economy.
Right.
Even though you've got it all banked, I'm still like not far enough ahead to justify it.
Hmm. And actually, yeah, I mean, what standing army do you have? You have, what was that, 6 tigers, 6 brutes. We have another 3 tigers, so like 9 tiger
No, I
tanks.
didn't. I didn't have any brutes.
Yeah.
Only
Oh.
tigers.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Okay. So there's three more, and then another 2. So that's the extent of our. Oh, sorry. Keep pausing. And I'm sure you all see where this is going. And I want to say yesterday I figured out. Oh, you can just hit K and cloak your commander. I never do that, so I'm always like, oh.
Yeah, yeah. You saw there I was pulling my tanks away because I'm like, I just wanted to keep your commander off the reclaim field. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't realize you were so low on health.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at my base, you'll see there are resers streaming out of my bot lab
Yeah.
coming across. I
Right.
was just buying time to get my resers over there. But yeah,
You,
you were really low.
that was really good. I noticed these too, and I think that kind of even made me more. It made me realize how important this position was. I'm like, oh, I have to do something because like now he has resers on the field and he's going to be able to get this reclaim even more quickly. So I'm like, I just felt really pressured to kind of make a decision here, keep my commander in this area to contest this reclaim field because I mean if you get all this mass, I want to say you end up winning the game. Well, you won the game, but
Yeah, in that position, I thought I was winning the game because I had like 5 tigers on the rec field, and I knew you didn't have any construction vehicles over here, and I knew your commander was going to have to back off.
mm-hmm.
So with the resers coming, I was like, I can get enough units in the game um, to hold this. How many T2 mexes did I have at this
I
point?
think
Did
it
I
was
have
four,
all
four, three.
3? I was
Yeah,
working on the 4th one.
right, right,
I mean, I was starting to get my T2 economy up, and I was even in military. So
right, right, right.
I felt good at this point. Like I said, I really didn't expect your commander to die there. But
Yeah, neither did I. I was, I think I shouted
Definitely,
it.
yeah, definitely an even game. We traded pretty good the whole time.
I'm wondering if like I could have been more like, cause well, both of us seemed really passive, so I'm wondering if it's kind of just what Comet Catcher devolves into. It's like, well, everyone porks up, so it's like, what's the point in raiding if they already have the LLTs there, you know? So, I like both of us just were playing super passively until this battle started here in the center, and that's what we fought over for the past 3-4 minutes. So I'm wondering, is
Yeah, I think we both kind of had an idea. I actually expected you to go arm, and I was
mm,
going to play a defensive game
mm-hmm,
and take a good fight, and then just control the map from there. But
mm,
you went core, and you were also playing a passive defensive game, waiting for me to attack. So
yeah.
we kind of just, I guess, expected a different play style from each other. So
I'm wondering if that's kind of what the game is gonna devolve into. Well, I mean, the map obviously forces us down this kind of path, but it's like more like teching becomes more important, right? Because like this is the fastest I've seen T2 on this. I think you went T2 factory at like 13 minutes. So it's like this. It, do you just use tech to get an advantage here? Is that kind of where this game is heading towards? Like both players know they can't get damage to each other, so to me that makes sense. Okay, well I'll just go open up a tech path and have a way to deal with all this pork. Have a way to raid. I mean, it's because like LLTs aren't really effective against tiger tanks, right? You know.
yeah, I'm not sure. I think in more passive styles it does, but at the same time you could have been more aggressive with your commander and
Mm,
just made an LLT forest into my base, right?
mm-hmm.
And forced a fight. Right? I
Yeah,
think that's what the map is. Um, you have to force a fight at some point, and whoever can force the fight in a better position,
right.
I think controls the game. Like I had to take that fight there in a bad position. I'm like one screen away from your base,
Yeah, yeah.
but I didn't have a choice because I couldn't flank your sides because I'm too open in the middle, and you're too porked up for me to send small raids out. Like I don't know. I think maybe being more aggressive early, I could have opened the map up before you got fortified.
Mm,
Because if I had stopped you from porking up on the top side, then I could have split the map, and you would had to have split your army, and I can use that to take fights more easily.
mm,
Whereas in this position, you only had to have your army there in the middle.
right.
Like I never had an opportunity, uh, from my perspective, to split my army.
So like, where do you force a fight in an advantageous position? Because like, I mean, we talked about like moving forward with the commander, right? It's like, well, the farther forward we push, the closer I get to your main base. So it's like, is it? It seems kind of like paradoxical in a sense. Like, should be like
Yeah,
should be like sweeping through here to like clear out this eco. Like, even though it's like really defended up, at least you don't have like it's farther away from your main base. You don't have such an easy opportunity to get access to a reclaim field so close to your base, kind of like what happened over here. So it's um, I'm still really not sure like what in these positions, both players defensive in a split map scenario. It's like I guess you have to go T2, but then at that point even it's like, well, now we're both at T2. You're in the same problem. It's like, well, we have the same units, the same position. It's like, how do you get an advantage on this map in these positions?
yeah, it's a good question. I think I think it comes down to micro. I think
Mm,
being aggressive with scouts early, being aggressive with early units is probably the key to an advantage because in this, like I couldn't have gone T2 if I didn't force that fight because
mm-hmm.
I didn't have the metal and I knew I was behind an economy in an expansion. So I couldn't go T2. Um, and you're going to get T2 faster than I will if we both just sit in our bases and don't fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like you have to do something at some point, especially if you're behind.
Right.
So
Hmm.
I'm not sure. Maybe I just got to pork up more. I got a calm walk like everybody else and make
Yeah,
LLTs.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I hate to say it, but that does it seems like a decent strategy, right?
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, look at all the energy I had, and I still was stalling on energy.
yeah, that's insane. And I really like this geometry. It's like, well, you really can't push in from either direction, right? You can't. You have to chew through all this HP. Which, I was thinking like, our bomber is good on this map, and it's like, well, solars are so tanky. It's like you can't really harass your opponent's economy as efficiently as you can on like wind maps. So perhaps like targeting these construction turrets would be like, if you want to do like a surprise air switch, it's like, what are you going to be targeting on this in this main base? And actually, I don't know.
Yeah, you really gotta want to go for the build power. I mean, you if they have a clumped up bunch of solars like I do here, and you know that, I mean, you can do a nice bomb
Mm-hmm.
and kill a bunch of them. But like you said, most players are gonna spread them out,
Right.
and so it's better just to kill the build power or the lab so they can't use their resources.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion. You'd have to ask a air player what they think.
There's air players.
Yeah, slow.
Slow.
X Factor,
Yeah. Okay.
Randy.
Okay. Okay. Um. Yeah, I want to say the at least getting that at air transport is that kind of worth investing in the worth investing in that air lab. Kind of get your commander out of the positions. These kind of positions. Uh,
Yeah, speaking of air, I thought you were gonna go shurikens.
yeah.
I thought for sure you would try that because I was pushing on your side of the map.
Hmm. I'm not sure. Just kind of something to think about, really. I'm not sure how much more kind of want to add to this. We kind of exhausted. I really wanted to examine this because I didn't know how you had a T2 factory so quickly. It turns out you, you had a construction vehicle here and got the 2,000 mass. But
Yeah, that was the plan. I see that construction vehicle. If you look there in the middle, those two mexes that are just to the left of that rec field,
uh-huh.
I was building those mexes,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I need to go T2. So I'm gonna take this fight, and I took that construction vehicle and drove over there
Mm,
at like 13 minutes in. And I'm like, I'm just gonna reclaim this field and go T2. Like I know he's gonna fight me here because I know he thinks
yeah.
he can win this fight,
All
but
right.
the
Well,
whole point of the fight is to get the medal to go T2.
that's interesting. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's such a cool mechanic. I mean, the reclaim is like a deciding factor in games. Essentially, it's like, I mean, we're even on economy, we're even on map position. It's just like, where do these trades happen, and it's like, who can get the who can get the mass from the reclaim. So
Yep.
maybe that's the way. Yeah, just force a fight and get the reclaim in an advantageous position. So kind of looking for that opportunity is really the way to play this map.
Yeah, I think so.
Um, do you have any kind of like closing thoughts, perhaps, on anything you'd like to share?
No, I think this is a good map. I know some people think it's a boring map, but you can really do a lot of things on this map, and there's a high skill ceiling with what you can micro and do. So I think it's a good map, and I hope more people will continue to play it.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. It's got like a lot of mass, so you get a big macro game. There's plenty of open terrain to kind of harass and raid, despite players' poor tendencies. So, yeah, I'd have to agree with you. It's a great map, and that's probably a testament to why we see so many games played on it by these higher level players.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. Well, Navaya, thanks for coming on the channel again. Thanks for taking the time to talk to me, and thank you all for watching. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button. I'm sure 10% of you made it to the end of this video, so I'm talking to the hardcore people. So thank you for all for watching, and see you in the next replay.